If you're worrying about a dollar crisis, it's a bad idea to put all your eggs in one basket. That means silver should not be your only option. Hey guys, silver. Silver is hitting record highs. It's at $47.70 right now. It's doing incredibly well. Gold is hitting all-time highs. And people ask me about gold and silver all the time. And I tell them I consider gold and silver to be excellent hedges against inflation. But I don't recommend investments. I don't talk about investments. If I knew a lot about investments, I would be rich myself. I don't claim that gold and silver are investments. Obviously, if you got into it when it was early, when silver was around $8, now you're doing pretty well. But when you start using the word investment, people get the wrong idea about it. You know, people buy in at $45 and it goes down to $42 and say, "Well, I lost this amount of money." Well. So to really avoid all that, just say, gold and silver is a hedge against inflation, and it's one way of dealing with a dollar collapse. And I think the dollar is at a point where it's just fundamentally unsustainable, and it's not going to be the world's reserve currency for much longer. And when other countries start to transition away from the dollar as a world reserve currency, it's going to obviously lose a lot of its value, and the standard of living in America is going to decrease dramatically. I hear people who put all their resources into food and water, but they don't have guns. I hear people who put their resources into gold and silver, but they don't have guns. I hear about people who put their resources into guns and ammo, but don't have food and water. People need to cover the bases. And I think what I'm doing is I'm storing food, water for several months. I think people should store the medicines they need. If you're not, get the medicines that your family or vitamins or so that you think your family members will need. The tools you need to keep essential devices working, and get guns and ammunition so that you can actually protect it. And then learn how to use it. And speaking of learning how to use it, now I was out there in the field recently and I was shooting a Mossberg 500 and I had some failure to eject situations, and that was really user error. I didn't rack it back hard enough. And that's what happens when you're not used to really shooting it. And in Ketchikan, Alaska, I shot it a lot, so it wasn't really an issue. But when you go a long time without shooting it, that's what you have to deal with. When I was in Ketchikan, Alaska, I had a range where I can just stand up and just shoot and set up my targets and just shoot all I wanted to. Whereas here, the ranges, the outdoor ranges, you got to sit in some little benches like you're in a damn closet or something, and you can't really stand up. And that's when you're holding your rifle. You can stand up and shoot your pistol, but other than that, you can't really do anything with your rifle. So, so because of that situation, it would mean that I would sit down and then shoot a shotgun. And of course, all that hitting my shoulder, it's just a lot. So I just said, forget about it. I just stopped shooting it. So I got out of practice, and I got out there and had some problems. But of course, towards the end of the video, you start to see that it gets a lot better. But it's not just important to have a gun. You actually have to learn how to use it. I'm not having any problems with the Glock 21. And I'm going to take the Mossberg 500 out again. I just cleaned it up some more. And I'm going to make sure I actually rack it, when I shoot it. I'm like, actually get a good rack to it. So I don't have those type of issues anymore. But yeah, it doesn't make any sense to have the food and water and you can't protect it. You don't have the guns to protect it. It doesn't make any sense to have the silver if you don't have a means of protecting it. It doesn't make any sense to have the guns if you don't have the food and water, because what's going to happen is you're going to end up trading the guns for the food and water anyway, or you may do something stupid with the guns and get yourself killed or get somebody else hurt. It doesn't make any sense to have the silver and you don't have the food and water and the guns to protect it. I mean, what you're going to do is end up trading the silver for those essential items anyway, so it makes sense for people to cover all bases. So I just want to talk about that. Silver, my questions about silver is that, how liquid is it really? In a crisis situation, are you really going to be able to find people who are willing to trade in their guns for your silver? Are you going to be able to find people willing to trade in food for silver in a crisis situation? I'm not saying it's ever going to get that bad. I'm just saying theoretically, do you think this is why it's sort of a bad idea to just stock up on just silver or any one particular thing. So you need the medicines you need. You need the tools, whether it be a crowbar or a screwdriver or whatever. You need the tools you need, or a socket set, These are the things you actually need. So Focus on the things that are essential, and guys, tell your friends, and I hope you're able to get through to them. So anyway, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. The future belongs to those who prepare for it today. Bye.